President Cyril Ramaphosa addressed the 4th South African Investment Conference in Sandton this morning. The conference comes at a time when the country is experiencing high unemployment. eNCA Business Editor Devan Murugan is covering the story for us, and he joins us now live. Devan, I saw the President take to the podium at around 9 o'clock. For some of those who missed that address, just remind us exactly what he said this morning.
Well, yeah, good afternoon. Largely expected. The President, Cyril Ramaphosa, selling South Africa as he did with the previous conferences, hoping to boost up that 774 billion rand pledges already accumulated to the 1.2 trillion rand target that was set in 2018. And look what he basically did this morning was saying selling South Africa as a bankable project. He says he understands that there are challenges from infrastructure to energy supply, but he listed an entire list of interventions which sees the government trying to improve that. Of course, you know that in order to create jobs in this country, you will have to go beyond the doors of this investment center, and investment has to show itself in the realms of businesses all around for a sustained period to employ the 12 million people that are unemployed. So we had a few investment pledges happening already, which means that the target of 1.2 trillion is closer to being achieved. But I want to bring in Shona Sunny here, who is with the head of policy in Africa for Netflix. Netflix being one of the great contributors to this investment conference. Over 900 million rand in investments. Why South Africa, and what's the money going to be used for?
Thanks so much. We're really excited about it because for us, we've always believed in South Africa because the level of talent and creativity that exists in this country, it's mind-blowing. Our business thrives on being able to tell authentic stories and showcase them on the global stage. And the wealth of South African stories that they're just waiting to be told meant that this was an obvious choice for us to get on this great partnership, especially because our model relies so heavily on local storytellers, local production companies, and this partnership, we believe, will tell the authentic South African story to the world.
I'm going to get into more detail as to where those funds really go to in a moment, Shona. But let me ask you this. When it comes to looking at some of the challenges that South Africa faced, so the creative industry, for example, was something that was really dogged upon through COVID-19. Our production houses were not turning, yet we've got a wealth of talent here. I mean, look, we've been at, some of the stages in the world internationally when it comes to awards. So it's a boost for our creative industry, this, isn't it? How will it manifest itself?
Absolutely, because we believe the creative industry here is on the brink of something great.
Yeah.
Yes, it's not the traditional sector, and you will see manufacturing, automotive, and those sorts of sectors taking the front line when it comes to investments. But what we are glad that opportunities like this give us the chance to showcase to the world is that the creative industry can actually do a lot in the area of job creation, skills and capacity building, and a lot of the economic deliverables that the administration is trying to achieve. Significant amounts of them can come from the creative industry, and that's what we found. Because we talk about our number, right, like 929 million rand in investments. Behind the number is actually people. It's great talent in front of the camera, behind the camera, storytellers, producers, directors, actors, and all of that. But there's another ecosystem. It's the transport people, the caterers, the manufacturers, the retail, the fashion, and all the different elements that go into telling a great story. So for us, this represents an opportunity for the creative industry and, of course, Netflix contributions to move South Africa that much closer to what it wants to achieve on the economic front. For us, it's such an exciting time.
So, Shona, you've given us a breakdown of the value chain where this over 900 million will go to, all right? But I've also noticed in your delivery, you've said that there's one international production that's set for South Africa as a setting, and then we've got local productions as well. I mean, that's a gift and a half to people that are aching to get into the industry. Is that set already, or are people willing to get a piece of this, just wanting to be entrepreneurs, also, can benefit from this contribution, or is it set, the recipients set already?
That's a really cool question. For the purpose of this pledge, the recipients are set already. It's 4 productions, it's 4 projects. The big international one, Panda, which is a working title name for One Piece, and then there are 3 other local projects. But that doesn't tell the whole story. The whole story is that Netflix has been here since 2016 investing in similar projects. So these 4 projects, they are the recipients for this pledge, yes, but they're not the entirety of what our investments or our productions or the shows that we're going to be delivering this year and next. That's not the complete picture. Our reality is that in the 5-6 years that we've been here, investing over 2 billion rand, we have found that it's led to job creation up to 1,900 full-time jobs. And so this is the size of the opportunity. And if we take a look at Panda alone, which is one of the big projects that make up this pledge, right? Yeah. Panda alone this year is going to deliver over 1,000 full-time equivalent jobs. There's over 30 historically disadvantaged people, young people, brilliant talents who are going to get the opportunity to hone their skills on the set of Project Panda. So this is kind of our model. This is not the end of the road. For us, it's a beginning. This is how we partner, and we make sure that even as we tell these stories to the world, and we partner with South Africans to get their stories to the world, there is a positive socioeconomic benefit that reaches beyond film and TV to all of those other sectors I spoke about before. So I think because we love to partner and we love to go where the story is, there's an opportunity for other storytellers outside of this pledge, outside of these 4 projects, to still partner with Netflix and collaborate to get another great South African story out there.
Just 2 more questions very quickly. The first one being, is a company like yours faced with challenges of getting regulatory permission, for example? Do you see that as a barrier? You speak to other investors out there and they say, well, look, getting zoning rights for a particular thing is a problem in this country because of our rather tedious regulatory framework environment. Are those some of the challenges that an outfit like yours face, and do you see it as a barrier?
I think we see it more from the point of view of opportunity. So South Africa, like every other market, will have its challenges in the policy and regulatory space. So there are a couple of issues that we believe need to be fixed and need to be addressed, or maybe prioritized is the right term, for us to be able to maintain the investment momentum that we have in the last 5 to 6 years. If I want to call out a couple, I would say the copyright bills are something that are very important to how the investment environment for the creative industries continues to play out. We are advocates for flexibility, and we are advocates for fair remuneration for production partners and also talents that partner with us on our shows. We believe that the copyright bills need to land in a good place that enable these talents to realize the best financial returns on the IP and investments that they make in their arts. Another area that's really critical for us is with regard to the incentive schemes. You know that DTIC runs a film and production incentive program, which has worked superbly in the past, but of late we've realized that there needs to be more certainty, and we need to be able to take to the bank, really, that these incentives will come through, especially for our production partners who are the direct beneficiaries of these sorts of schemes, because when they thrive, we are able to thrive as well, and they are able to deliver on the expectations that we have of them. So we feel like the incentive scheme structure also needs to go through the rework or what's happening to make sure that filmmakers can rely 1,000% on the availability of these support mechanisms. And of course, the industry policy roadmap that's being run by the Department of Communications and Digital Technologies, which seeks to engender investments into the sector. And Netflix's message is, we are firm believers in investments. We are here kind of doing it already. We just want to see a mechanism or a policy solution that makes sure that these investments continue to happen organically and that they address all the elements of the value chain that result in the great content we see on our screens. Even things like skills building and capacity development, they shouldn't be ignored when we're talking about putting investments in the right place within the film sector.
Great. Just one more question very quickly. I've got a few seconds left, and I hate to put you on the spot if it's not your forte, but the issue of password sharing. I know Netflix is testing this out to make sure that not too many people get hold of passwords and it's shared, compulsively all over. How long before South Africa tries and tests this mechanism out?
Honestly, I couldn't say because it's still a test. So whether it's going to be tested or rolled out in South Africa it will be based on the results of what we learn from where it's currently being tested. And I think the important thing as well that we realize as Netflix is that the definition of family or the definition of a household can be pretty fluid. I'm African, and I know that I don't necessarily stay in the same house with my family. So think about it more as not just restricting password sharing, but making it possible for legitimate and maybe far-flung members of a family to be able to benefit off of a Netflix account. So it's going to enable others to come into the fold as well. And I think we'll see how it goes.
Shona Sadi, thanks very much indeed for talking to us. She's the head of policy in Sub-Saharan Africa for Netflix. And that's one investor that's made the contribution, and you kind of see how this pans out in real terms on the ground here. And of course, we will be talking to many more of some of these investors as the afternoon progresses here at the South African Investment Conference.
Devan Murugan at the Sandton Convention Centre. Let's leave it there for now.